Hey everyone, doing a really quick check-in because it's 9:02, which is a little bit late for me. It's hard on Wednesdays because I have a Zoom meeting that starts at 7 and we're supposed to not get done till 9 o'clock. It's just, yeah. And I really, just in case there's anything that God shows me or, something I'm supposed to share with you guys, especially from the Zoom, I'm like, should I do it before I don't know. I'm not sure. And so this is kind of just how it is, but, just coming on here really quick and I'm watching the time. So, just practical stuff first, checking in for accountability. I did not eat today. There was a lot of interesting things that happened today. So I was here in the house until a little bit before 10 o'clock and then ended up actually taking my dad to the emergency room because he was having some weird chest pain. Turned out to be not a heart attack or anything dealing with his heart. I think he just pulled a muscle potentially. He was scraping my mom's car from ice that we had overnight. And my adopted sister, it was crazy. My adopted sister had been taken in by my mom. I didn't even know my mom was there. And so then they're across from each other in the emergency room. And so mom and I are going back and forth. It was just, again, that was my morning. And so I ended up going to the grocery store after all of that happened and just stocking up on stuff and came home and did a bunch of other things, including putting the groceries away. So I don't even think I ate today until close to 3 o'clock. It was pretty close till 3 o'clock. I was definitely hungry by that time, like super, super duper hungry because I hadn't eaten anything or drank anything for that matter. And so, last night or the night before, my dad brought home leftover, white cheddar shells, like mac and cheese shells. And so I had a small bowl of that. And then my mom had made cheese ravioli. And so I had like a small bowl of that as well. And I'm trying to think, did I eat anything else? I ate those two things. And then, excuse me. Oh, and then I had like a small, nature, I don't even know what's all in it. It's like, nuts and cranberries and fruit. And it's like a prepackaged thing that's like 50 calories or something. Had one of those. Oh, and I was like, I know I did something else. I drank a completely organic, all juice, no additives or anything. I don't even remember what they're called, but it had like orange, it had all the juices in it. It had like orange and lemon and cherry and it was yummy. And then I had another small glass of organic orange and pineapple juice. And I was really, really, cause my mom still has, we still have cookies from Christmas and stuff. And so they're out in the freezer. So I was super duper duper tempted to eat one and, or a handful, to be honest, because my favorite are these tiny little cream horns. They're so good. They're called, Lady Fingers, and they're my favorite cookie that she makes. And so I get myself a glass of milk and then I have a handful of them is typically what I'm doing. And in my mind, I was I feel like I'm kind of full, but I really want a handful of cookies. And so instead I kind of distracted myself and I did not get the cookies. And I ended up making this really cool recipe that I found on Facebook. I really wasn't looking for it. It just kind of fell in my lap for air fryer recipes. And so I took a can of garbanzo beans or chickpeas, whatever you call them, and made them in the air fryer and then seasoned them with garlic parmesan seasoning or whatever. And nothing else on them. And they are really good. So I think I found a low cal, crunchy, because they're crunchy when you cook them in the air fryer, and it only takes half the time, a fourth of the time is what it does in the regular oven to make them. And I'm a lover of hummus. I really love hummus. So I was I have a feeling I'm gonna like these, but it's obviously a different consistency. I'm not sure. So good. So what I did was I made a whole can, and then afterwards I let my dad try them, and he was like, man, these are really good. I'm like, I know, and you don't like hummus. And he's like, that's what this is made with, is chickpeas. I'm like, yep. He was like, I was like, see, you do like chickpeas. So I'm going to get you to like hummus by the end of this time frame. Anyway, so then I divided it up into 3 little snack size bags so I could just grab and go. Which is wonderful when I'm working out on the road. I have certain snack size things that I can now take in the car with me. And so if I get like a hunger pain, I'm not tempted to go to like fast food and just like get food. So, I also today made, Rachel Ray's, homemade, like from scratch taco seasoning. I didn't use it for anything yet. I just made, I don't even know how many batches of it. I basically bought all of the ingredients in like, like the seasoning things. And I used it until there wasn't enough for me to do another batch of them. And so it was like a giant bowl of them. And then I used a funnel and put them back in the shaker containers. So now, because somebody posted something and I was like really grossed out because they said like the taco seasoning that we buy at the store, those like little packets they say do not eat that are in our like shoes and things like that when you first purchase them. If you look on the packaging of most prepackaged taco seasoning, I can't remember what it's called. It might be, I don't remember what the name of it is. It is the same ingredient as what's in those things that we're not supposed to eat. And so I was extremely grossed out. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is true. And so I really love eating tacos, my kind of tacos, with meatless crumbles is what they're called. But I still use taco seasoning to like, make the taco flavor. And so now I'm good to go with all natural and there's no additives in them and it's low sodium. So I was like, man, this is a pretty good day. I was not expecting it to look the way that it did, but sometimes that's just the way it goes. So, and there was no school today, which meant that there was no rehearsal tonight, which meant, I was able to do all of those things. I think the only thing I didn't get to today that I really wanted to was, I bought Brussels sprouts on sale today. I love Brussels sprouts. Never thought I would be a person who would be like, yay, Brussels sprouts, that's exciting, but I am. And everybody in our house loves them too. So whenever they're on sale, I make sure to buy like a lot of them because it doesn't take us very long to get through them. And I always want to share. And so I was going to cook those tonight as well. It just didn't happen before I had to get on my Zoom call. So maybe tomorrow, we'll see. Tomorrow, I am supposed to have 3 littles. So, and we haven't had school since Monday because of the weather and stuff. So we'll see if we have school because two of my kiddos, it's so weird. My schedule looks so weird now. Because Monday, Thursday is still my kiddo days, but 2 of my kiddos, my niece and my nephew that I have on those days, they actually go to school in the afternoon. So I have another little guy, but sometimes he gets picked up early, which means like sometimes now I am kidless for hours before I go pick them up off the school bus. It's like a weird thing. So we'll see how it goes tomorrow. We'll see what happens with that tomorrow. But that is the normal schedule for tomorrow. We also are supposed to have rehearsal for our school musical production, which I'm not really doing very much to help. I'm just kind of an other adult body that's there. And if they need help with something, I'm there to help. So we have rehearsal for that tomorrow and the kiddos love going to it. So we'll see what happens with that. Yeah. So we should be going to that, I believe, tomorrow. So anyway, day in a nutshell. It was a little crazy start. It was really funny to me because I went live and did the devotional yesterday and I was like, it was kind of a little hectic here this morning, and I had no idea what was going to happen 45 minutes later when my dad came in and said he needed to go to the the hospital. I was like, man, I thought the morning was hectic, and then it got a little bit more crazy looking and insane looking around here. Because then we were at the hospital for like 2 hours. Well, parents were there for longer. I took my sister home after she was free and clear with strep, is what she has. So yeah. Anyway, I hope all of you had a wonderful day. This is a really boring vlog today. Nothing really exciting to share with you. Other than, I would like to say, just how faithful God is. And it's really cool when we don't lean on our own understanding. I will leave you with this, because this is really cool. When my dad came in my room and he was like, hey, first of all, love this man. Sometimes I just am like, what are you saying, sir? He comes in my room, and obviously when I say that, I'm not like being disrespectful. I'm saying sometimes men are too independent at times when they have other people around them that can help them. Okay. So like, just break that stigma, like ask for help. So he came in and he was like, hey, I'm going to go to the I'm going to drive myself to the emergency room. I've been experiencing chest pain for like an hour. First of all, I was like, an hour? We waited an hour to go get this looked at. And then secondly, at first he kind of just like said all that and then like walked away, and then Holy Spirit was like, you need to drive him. And so I was like, okay, so like leaning in and listening for Holy Spirit, because in all honesty, I was like, are you sure you're okay to drive yourself? And he's like, I should be fine. He's like, I'm not really experiencing any other symptoms. I just have pain in the middle of my chest. And so Holy Spirit was like, you need to drive him. Well, what I didn't know was that my mom had to go pick up my sister, because my sister couldn't even get out of her house on her own. She needed help, and she was like white as a sheet. Just, it was not great. And so it was totally a God thing, because like I was able to, like, if I hadn't been there, my mom would have had to be in between the two rooms. But because when I got there, I stayed, my mom was like, can you please stay? I was like, yeah, sure. I was like, I don't want to say if you don't want me to, but like, I will if you need me to. And she was like, I need you to go in there with your sister so I can be with your dad. So like, again, leaning not on our own understanding. And the other thing is, here's the other cool thing. So when he said that, most people's normal reaction to that would be like, oh my gosh, like freaking out, panicking. I was at peace the whole time. And like, I just knew in my heart of hearts, it wasn't what he was potentially thinking it was. Like, not that it, you don't want to negate when someone's like, what they're going through. You don't want to negate that, but we got to lean on the Lord's understanding above our own. Because like, if I was leaning on my own understanding, on my own strength, when my dad came in and said what he said, I would have gone into straight up panic mode and been like, oh, my dad's having a heart attack, da, 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 da. Like just freaking out. But instead it was very much like, you just need to drive your dad. And it's not because it's like, anything bad's going to happen. You just need to take him. And then when I got there, everything made sense. And I was like, oh, this is why you wanted me to come. So that my mom can be in the room with my dad and I can be in the room with my sister. Got it. And then what ended up happening at the end, my mom didn't have to leave my dad because my dad was still there. And my sister was discharged. So she obviously needed to get home. And so I was able to take her home, and my mom was able to stay there with my dad until all of his tests were done. Everything came back negative that needed to be negative, positive that needed to be positive. And they went from there. So, lean into the Lord's understanding above your own, because, and again, when he tells you to do something, don't partner with any kind of fear that's like, why is he telling me to do that? Don't do that. Just don't do that. That's silly. Just listen to him and keep leaning into him, and listen to what he's saying as you're moving along the path that he has you walking on. Because when fear rises up is when trust goes away. Like, that's how that works. Fear starts to take over our hearts. We suddenly don't trust the Lord anymore, and trust that he is our everything, including our protector. The fact that he sees all, he knows all. Like, yeah, don't allow fear to come in and replace trust. It's not great. And you just it's really like an unhappy thing to have, to live that way, living in a place of fear where you're consistently like on edge and just anxious, and it's just not fun. It's not fun at all. When we trust in the Lord with all of our heart, our mind, our strength, and lean not on our own understanding, then there's what that comes, a peace that passes all understanding. And that only comes from the Prince of Peace. So I guess I did have a little bit of something to say, but I do need to get off here. But I will be back in the morning for day 4. Are we on day 4? I think day 4 of our devotional. So be sure to tune in for that live or listen to it later, whatever works for you. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening tonight. I love all of you. Good night.